Plato's allegory of the cave is an allegory presented by the Greek philosopher Plato in his work, Republic. In the allegory, Plato describes people who have spent their entire lives chained by their necks and ankles in front of an inner wall with a view of the empty outer wall of the cave. They observe the shadows projected onto the outer wall by objects carried behind the inner wall by people who are invisible to the chained prisoners, and who walk along the inner wall with a fire behind them, creating the shadows on the inner wall in front of the prisoners. The sign-bearers pronounce the names of the objects, the sounds of which are reflected near the shadows and are understood by the prisoners as if they were coming from the shadows themselves. Only the shadows and sounds are the prisoner's reality, which are not accurate representations of the real world. The shadows represent distorted and blurred copies of reality we can perceive through our senses, while the objects under the sun represent the true forms of objects that we can only perceive through reason. Three higher levels exist: natural science, deductive mathematics, geometry and logic, and the theory of forms. Socrates explains how the philosopher is like a prisoner freed from the cave and comes to understand that the shadows on the wall are not the direct source of the images seen. A philosopher aims to understand and perceive the higher levels of reality. However, the other inmates of the cave do not even desire to leave their prison, for they know no better life. Socrates remarks that this allegory can be paired with previous writings, namely the analogy of the soul and the analogy of the divided line.